Good morning, everybody. Tuesday, you know what that means. So, I've been complaining, right, that there's no patterns at Goodwill. There haven't been any patterns, right? So today I go in, and there is like 7 bags of patterns, and I grabbed all of them. Got my discount. So all the patterns ended up being some weird amount, $4.94 a pack, $4.74 a bag, and all of them had 5 patterns in it. So I ended up spending, I don't know what, 28 something on these patterns, something like that. And I took a look at them because I was kind of like, oh boy, the first, I could see that some of them were cut. And I was like, oh, did I just buy like a ton of cut patterns? Well, kinda. So here's what I'm going to do. I have a bag over here that's full of the cut patterns. And some of them are super interesting, by the way. And some of them are only partial to cut, which means I will be able to like kind of go through and salvage them and, you know. And then in front of me right here, I separated out the patterns that were uncut. They will go up on my Etsy site pretty much immediately. And then there was another bag that I saw that was, yes guys, rickrack, which by the way, after I bought this, I almost immediately had buyer's remorse. I was like, oh my God, why did I buy that? I have so much of this stuff, but we'll go through this. But in the meantime, I'm going to show you the patterns that were uncut. Then I think later this week, maybe like on Saturday night, I'll set up another one of my little pattern unboxing, even though this would be an unbagging, because like I said, these patterns are cut. And the majority of this whole haul were cut patterns. I ended up with, I'm looking at it right now, 6 patterns that weren't cut. So yeah, but we'll see. So here's the very first one. So it's a Vintage Simplicity. This is the back. It's actually a super cute dress. And it's a vintage size 16, which is closer to like a 12 now. Or I think about keeping it. Sleeveless, really cute. All right, so this next pattern, here's the weird thing. This pattern is so bulky that I thought for sure that it was not, that it was cut. It's not. It looks like somebody opened it up and looked at it and then attempted to fold it back up and did a really horrible job because it's not at all factory folded. It's way too bulky, but it is uncut. So I can honestly say that it's an uncut pattern. Then there was this one. I do not remember this line. It's from McCall's. It's called Show Me. And I'm going to show you what it looks like inside because it's really different than most patterns, right? First of all, it's on this white, not like your normal onion skin. Now, this pattern did get discolored from the packaging. And then the instructions are like a booklet. They're not, you know how normally they fold out? It's an actual little booklet. I thought that was cute. I don't remember this line, but, you know, not bad. Someone who wants to learn how to sew. There's 3 sizes in the pattern, I think. Let me see what this one was. This one was... 12, 14, 16. But again, vintage 16, which is more like a 12. What was this? So this is super cute. This is another one. I'll show you the back line drawing of it. This is another one that I looked at and I thought, it hasn't been used, it hasn't been cut, but I'll show you what I mean. Like, this is not a factory fold. Somebody opened this and looked at it and then like kind of put it back together. I mean, it could, technically, it could be a factory fold. It could just be a really bad one, which happens, which definitely happens. Then there was this. I thought this was really gorgeous. Just a really nice, basic kind of tunic. Also vintage. And then this. I love this. You know, doesn't that look like someone's mom? 1980. It's a cute pattern. It's, the top and the shorts, and if you look closely at the top, it's actually, yeah guys, woo, it's a midriff. Yeah, so all right, so let's take a look at this. Now right on the top we got rickrack with something stuck to it, which is always good, right? Yeah, so we got some rickrack. There we go. We have seam binding. And this is vintage right seam binding. I know because of that particular packaging. More seam binding. Actually, this is bias tape. Both of these are bias tape. They're not seam binding. That's the thing. I don't need any more of this. I don't know what I was thinking. Sometimes your brain just goes like, oh, sewing supplies, blah, you know. And it happens to me anyway. This seems like seam binding. A shoelace, because no Goodwill haul would be complete without a stray shoelace. More seam binding. Ooh, more rickrack. And more vintage rickrack. And look, in the original packaging. Ugh. Okay. Fortunately, it came out. Some of it came out of the vintage packaging. Can you see the packaging though? They haven't used this packaging since, I think, the early 70s. And then they started to go, they went with like a more modern kind of motif on their packaging. So let's see if I can get that piece back in there, because that's kind of cool. Plus it was 15 cents. And let's face it, there's like no sewing supplies anymore that are 15 cents. This is actually piping. If you look at it closely, you can see it's piping. Oh, more. This is really wide seam binding. More wide seam binding, also in black. Oh, this is actually ribbon. It's hard to see, but it's like a satin ribbon, black satin ribbon. Ooh, something just fell out. Oh, okay. It's just a hook and eye closure. Not mouse poop, which is what I expected it was. Now this is a shame. This definitely has been through the wars. Can you see the staining on it? That's a shame. But here's some still in the packaging. Oh, there's actually in here a lot in the packaging, which is why I ended up picking this up, because I saw that a lot of it was still in the packaging. Now here is a color that I'll probably never use, but hey, it was in there. Oh, and then there's just a bunch of this stuff that's like loose. And I think another shoelace. And some more. And some more. And more rickrack. Okay, now I'm going to show you all the stuff that's actually... Oh, wait. I lied. Here's more that's just loose. Most of this was in packages, which is why I got it. All right, so... More bias tape. More seam binding. More seam binding. I don't know what this is, but it's also been through the wars. Okay, so here's the stuff. Here's a little bit more. Here's the stuff that's still in the packages. Okay, so we have seam binding. Wow, look at this. It's called Fancy Braid, and it's in silver. Ooh. Little more of this. These must have been on larger spools, and then someone shrink wrapped them in 1 yard or something. Oh, vintage rickrack, which means that this is it cotton? Is it cotton? Ugh. See, the cotton, everybody loves the cotton rickrack, or even the rayon rickrack, because it lasts through the dryer. Here is some seam tape where they shove some more seam tape in there by Talon. This is also vintage, but not quite as vintage. And this is super vintage because I've never even heard of this company. Star. Monkey skin. Wow. Okay, yeah, this is going on Etsy. Here's some hem facing. Oh, not one, but two of those monkey skin. They're going on Etsy. And then we have some more of the Wrights seam binding. All of these ones that are like this, I'm going to put on Etsy because people buy them not just to use them, but for the packaging, because the graphics is so interesting. And then, of course, in here, there's, as there usually is, there's one stray, completely rusty safety pin, because that's what we need in our life, right? A completely rusty safety pin. All right, so thanks for all the comments on the video about driving the school bus. I don't like to use the word hero, but thanks, guys. Yeah, I think the next video we're going to go through this, because this is the bag full of all of the rest of the patterns. So there were, what? There was 7 bags, 5 patterns, so 35 patterns. Yeah, so I worked it out. The patterns end up being 95 cents a piece, which is great, because even the ones that are cut, even if I get a couple bucks from them, I only spent 95 cents on them. So we can work with that. So we'll go through these because there are several patterns in here that I went, oh my God, this is amazing. And I was so sad that it was cut because it was such a weird pattern. And I thought, you know what, we need to do another unboxing, or in this case unbagging of these patterns, because some of these you have to see, including, here's a little teaser for you. I got more costumes, and one of them is a sexy costume. So let's say Saturday night at 6. Work for you guys? Works for me. Okay, so until the next video, thanks for stopping by. Like, subscribe, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.